Nice. Hello and welcome back to Dukes on Twitch. Back today with a Legacy Maverick stream. I've been on holidays for 2 and a bit weeks, so haven't been streaming as much as you probably are aware, hopefully, some of you. But yeah, we're back and we're playing Legacy Maverick as usual. This is Achilles 27's list. Of course, Connery is a pretty well-known guy within the Legacy community, if not just the Maverick community, of course, and has been a big proponent of the Black Splash for a while now. Connery, in general, was a big green-white player, but since the printings of cards like Plague Engineer and Kaya, he's moved over and had some really good success with the deck, so it's been great to see. I'm obviously a massive fan of the Black Splash, so it's good to see a player who's been putting up really good results with it, and has kind of changed a few things within the deck. There was a time a few weeks ago where Achilles was just playing the 3 main deck Swords to Plowshares to make way for the 3rd Abrupt Decay, but obviously has cut another card to go up to the 4th Swords. Just really interesting to see, because Swords, of course, is a tremendously powerful card. It's really good against the Delver decks and the Dreadhorde decks, and having 4 just means that you're going to see it a lot more. You really want it in your opening hand against those kind of decks to make at least use of it within the first couple of turns, because if your opponent gets to untap with the Dreadhorde or something like an Uro, it's going to be pretty hard to deal with. So I really like the extra swords. We're not playing things like Ponder or Brainstorm, and we're not playing the second library, so the extra swords does go a long way for a deck like this trying to find it within those first few terms. Hey Echo, hope you're well. Differences to my build aren't too big. Achilles is a massive fan of Once Upon a Time. I can definitely see it in this deck as well. Once is really nice because it acts a little bit like a Green Suns for Plague Engineer. And I guess, in a way, it's a little Green Suns itself for other creatures we're running, but of course Plague Engineer is pretty awesome because you can find it off the Once Upon a Times. You can also use Once to dig for things like a Wasteland, a Caracas, or even just that second land you need to keep a one-lander. Hey Elo, thank you very much. Hope you're well. Otherwise, this list is pretty stock, I would say, for Green White Black Maverick. And I think that's pretty easy to say because Achilles right now is kind of driving a lot of people towards his lists, which is, you know, something that I am 100% behind. Thoughtsy's in the sideboard. You could switch this around, so Achilles is running the kind of 5 slots for fast combo, kind of mid-range control as well for Thoughtseize, but Thoughtseize is nice because you can bring it in against a little bit more than you would bring in Deafening Silence for, which you could also play in this slot, but Thoughtseize just gives you a little bit more flexibility with where you can bring it in. So I think it's great against the Stoneblade decks, it's great against the control decks, it's obviously great against combo steals, so I really like it. And it also allows you to kind of have a bit more plan of what you're going to do over the following turns, with having access to knowing what your opponent has. Maybe you want to get down a threat before you know, your opponent can set up some sort of removal, or you want to get down a Thalia before they can cast Oko on turn 3. Thoughtseize is really nice. Kaya Ghost Assassin is an interesting one. Hey Ozman, hope you're well. Kaya Ghost Assassin is one that I haven't seen in a little while. I know Connery's a pretty big fan of it. So Kaya Ghost Assassin is a 4-drop Planeswalker. It comes down with 5 loyalty. The neg 1 is each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life, so pretty much a drain. The neg 2 is each opponent discards a card and you get to draw a card, which is nice because it kind of replaces itself straight away and actually puts your opponent down a card, so it's kind of a 2-for-1 straight up. And then for 0, you can exile Kaya Ghost Assassin or up to 1 target creature, and then return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control at the beginning of your next upkeep, and you lose 2 life. So it's pretty cool because you can reset the Kaya to get back the 5 loyalty. You can reset something like Plague Engineer to change what you name. You can do something like flick a Knight of Autumn to get an extra activation or ETB trigger out of the Knight. There's some really cool things. You could probably also deal with some sort of token. There might be a world where your opponent tries to play around Caracas and plays a Marit Lage in your upkeep, and then you get to play this and exile it straight away, which is kind of cool. Hey Martin, this and that, welcome. Good to see you guys in chat too. And then just the second Sylvan Library. So second Sylvan Library is a card that I've always played main deck. I'm just a huge fan of it, and that's just a personal preference. But obviously Achilles here being, I would definitely say the better player, so I'm going to go by his list and play this Sylvan Library in the sideboard, which I really like as well. I like having it there. There are a few matchups that can be pretty aggressive where you don't actually want the second Sylvan Library. Things like Blue Red Delver, something like Combo, where it's just a little bit too slow. So being able to have it, at least have access to it in the sideboard, is really nice because you can bring it against the decks where you want it. Things like Snow, the Mirror, other kind of mid-range decks where you can really get some pretty good use out of Sylvan Library. That's pretty much it. This should be pretty fun. Really nice to be back. I hope everyone is well. Let's do this. Feeling refreshed. Hopefully that means good things for the stream. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. We are going to play a Legacy League with play points. Nice. And we'll play this list. Nice. Okay. Very cool. Achilles himself also streams. I believe you can find him at twitch.tv/Achilles27. So definitely go check him out if you're after some more Legacy content. He usually runs a lot of challenges, which is cool, through streams. I don't really because of the time, unfortunately. But it will, we'll see how it goes. Up against Fado10. Not too sure if we played against each other first. This is a pretty sweet hand. It's a little bit fair, but we do have something like a turn 2 Knight, which with these 2 fetch lands means the Knights are going to come down as 4/4s at least, which is pretty great against the Bolt deck. But I think this is an okay hand. I'm going to keep it. I think I could mulligan for like a Thalia or maybe a Green Suns if I wanted something against combo, but I think if I was at a tournament in round 1 and this is my opening hand, I'd be pretty happy. Opposition Agent is going to be an interesting one. I think we'll see a lot of people trying it out. But it'll be interesting to see where people see it kind of getting played. Because I know there's a lot of talk about like Dark Ritual and, you know, that kind of side of things, but I don't think there's a lot of Ritual decks that would want it outside of maybe something like Curses. Looks like we're up against some sort of Loam deck, so I'm not too sure what our opponent's holding up. They might have played the Mox Diamond just to play around some sort of hand disruption, or something like Chalice for 0. I don't know if they're holding up like Crop Rotation or something. I think I'm still just going to go for Verdant into Savannah into Birds, holding the Windswept Heath because it can get either basic, and also getting Savannah so I don't show that I'm on black, because hopefully this game can play out in a way that I can just show that I am a green-white deck and don't show off my black. I did cut Felidar Retreat for this version just because it is what Achilles is playing. Retreat was an interesting card. I would like to see more of it, but for now, I do like the Planeswalkers as well. Planeswalkers, of course, are pretty good off the top of the deck. I'm going to play the Snow and just Green Suns for a Noble here, just to keep my mana building out. It looks like we're up against a green-white, maybe Field of the deck, Field of the Dead deck. Luckily, no Punishing Fire last turn. Wasteland and Punishing Fire would be pretty brutal. Are the streamers in Australia that stream Legacy often? That's a good question. I'm not too sure. Ooh, Wasteland Online is pretty nice for my opponent. But they're not going to play it. They played the Plains for Tone, of course. Hey, Ravenous, a huge thank you for the resub. 4 months is very cool. I very much appreciate that, so thank you very much. I know there is one, and I'm fading on the name, Cat, but I will get it up. This is pretty interesting. I'm gonna play the Wasteland here, but there's no real good use for it yet. We're definitely playing the Knight. And I think it's just Wasteland so I can hold the Windswept Heath for as long as I want. There is a world where my opponent gets quite aggressive with Wasteland and tries to Wasteland the fetch land and makes me fetch, thinking that I don't have another basic, but I think Wasteland here is okay. There's the Wasteland. That's fine. Can't do anything with it anyway. Looks like just a pass. So a little win there for us. So one thing that my opponent is showing here is if I attack with the Knight, they can block with the Ramanap, and then before damage, Elvish Reclaimer for Bojuka Bog, make the Knight a 2/2, and then it's smaller than the Ramanap. However, Exalted would make it a 3/3, so I guess what they would do is block with the Elvish Reclaimer. Block the Knight with the Elvish Reclaimer, sack a land, making the Elvish Reclaimer a 3/4, which then turns the Knight into a 3/3, and then goes downhill from there. I'm going to play the Wasteland again, and then I'm just going to play the second Knight. I guess I could actually get a free damage in here by playing the Knight this way and attacking with the birds in the air. I don't mind this. I don't think the Wasteland's doing too much right now, especially with Ramanap online. My other option is to just hold up the bird for a mana, so end step I can go and get Horizon Canopy and just draw a card, but I think here I'm probably happier just to get the attack in. But it's an interesting question, because if my opponent is holding up Bojuka Bog, I might want to start rebuilding their Knight as soon as my opponent's next end step, so I think that's actually going to be the play. I wonder if they do get Bog. Thespian stage, okay. That's probably fine. I mean, we have double Knight, so we have access to Wasteland, we have access to Caracas, we have birds as a blocker at worst, so this is more than fine. They're going to do this now, which is really interesting. So what I could do is Wasteland this Dark Depths now, which I don't mind. My opponent's played a land for turn already. That means we can attack back for, well, with both of these Knights, so I don't mind this. It also means that Caracas can't be Wastelanded the following turn, and then we would lose that, so Wasteland here is going to be the play. I could Knight for Caracas, but then my opponent gets to deal with the Caracas with Ramanap, so this way I get to get a little bit more work out of it. Interesting. I'm going to get in with both Knights here. If they don't block, we actually have lethal. We can fetch for a Bayou, and then Wasteland the Bayou. And they don't have mana up for Bojuka Bog, so I think this is just a win. Nice, yeah. Opponent didn't see the line. So this is going to be interesting. Thalia is definitely a cut. Plagues are probably a maybe. Oof is okay, because if they start on a Mox Diamond heavy start, I really like it. I do like the Vraska, I do like the Kaya. I do like the extra Sylvan Library and Paths. I think Thoughtseize, if I did bring it in, it would be on the play. I like Swords, I like the Mana Accelerants. Hex Drinker can be really tough to deal with. Decay seems great. Library seems great. This all seems pretty good. Yeah, the green-white deck has a lot of play to it, which is nice, but unfortunately, sometimes it just draws the wrong half of the deck, which can be a little bit tough. I might just keep in one Engineer. The Death Touch can be relevant, just to keep some of their aggressive starts at bay. So we'll see how this plays out. I don't think they use... they might have Life in the Loam, but outside of just Raminap, I'm not going to bring in Leyline. And even if they have Loam, I don't think I'm too scared of it being on this deck. The creature back in this hand is fine, but obviously the mana here isn't too good, so I am going to mulligan this hand. It doesn't really have a plan, and especially against the Wasteland deck, having to play the Dryad Arbor and hope it sticks for a turn, I'm not buying it, so... this is okay. I'm going to put back the Dryad Arbor. And hopefully, we'll be okay. They brought in Leyline, which is interesting. I'm not the biggest fan of Leyline against Maverick. I don't think it really puts enough pressure on our game plan. Sure, it makes Knight small, but outside of that, it's not the biggest issue. Kaya also dealing with Elvish Reclaim is really nice, so I do like that. Yeah, Temple Garden showing up in these field decks to make way as like a pseudo Savannah, but also count towards field is pretty nice. And you know, there are times where you can just get it at the in the end step anyway, so just playing around this Wasteland for now. We'll see what my opponent gets rid of with this Reclaimer. Hey Luca Boring, welcome. Hope you're well. Stage. Okay. Interesting, going for the combo. Opponent has 5 cards in hand. The big question is that I can play the Knight next turn if I don't draw a land, but I don't really want to show Caracas to my opponent. So a land here would be perfect. A path. Okay. Well, I don't think I'm winning this game if I'm not playing the Knight out this turn. So I think this is okay. If my opponent has removal for Knight and then also goes for Wasteland off the Reclaimer for Caracas, it could be pretty rough, but I think we'll end up okay. Opponent didn't even use the Elvish Reclaimer. That's really interesting. Not even getting a fetch land and then going for something. Palace Jailer. Okay. Well now, can we draw the land off the top for Questing Beast, which can attack in and steal the crown here? That would be really interesting. I mean, we haven't drawn a land yet, so you gotta say things are looking pretty good. So close. Yeah, nothing really to do here other than pass back. Unfortunately. But that's just Magic sometimes. I'm gonna float a white here. They could have step, but I'm probably okay with that. This is an interesting one. Just because I have the mana doesn't mean I necessarily should use a removal spell, but I do want to stem the bleeding a little bit. And I think it's Reclaimer that I'm actually more worried about than the Jailer. But at the same time, Kaya and Abrupt Decay answer the Reclaimer, so I think I might just use the Swords here on the Jailer. Yeah, some of these new cards coming out are going to be interesting. I think they will see play in Maverick just because people want to test them, but I don't think they'll stick. Alright. A little bit slow here, but can't do much else, unfortunately. Opponent probably going for the combo here. No, just holding up. I don't see what's happening there. So my opponent is not attacking with their Reclaimer, but they're holding up this. Very interesting. Knowing the Karakas is gone, I assume my opponent's going to go for Dark Depths here, just to play around Wasteland. Which is going to be pretty fantastic. Surely we find a third land off Sylvan Library, which means that we're going to be able to use this Questing Beast next turn to get back to the Crown. It's going to be some pretty good fun. So here we see an attack. Thankfully I used the Swords of Plowshares on the smaller creature, so we have the path for the Marit Lage. Path this now. Come on, land. Surely. Okay, there we go. Put on top. I'm going to pay for the Verdant. Maybe not. They do have Savannah up. Surely they don't have swords. If they have swords, it's pretty rough. I'm going to pay for it. I'm going to put the Verdant in and fetch that second Sylvan Library away. I'm going to get the Scrubland. Play Beast. They're 6ing, so this is a pretty great sign. We get back Knight here. That's a huge play. Get to draw a card as well. And Ramanap's not the greatest with Leyline in play, but I think this is going to be a nice turnaround for us. Opponent can find Council's Judgment. That's going to be okay. I was kind of scared of Skyclave Apparition there. And the Mox Diamond is fine. Hopefully no Wasteland here means we can... I guess Ghost Court is pretty bad, but... we can still 2-spell next turn. Oh, they're going to play their own thing. Ramanap, that's fine. Okay. Can't block this, we're going down to 8. Oh, okay. Now they get the Monarch, though. That's actually quite interesting. I'm gonna play Kaya and Abrupt Decay here. Yeah, Kaya and Abrupt Decay are pretty good. We get to attack with the Knight. So, put on top, put on top. Decay this. Kaya this. Attack with Knight. Get the Crown. Draw the Green Suns. It's pretty good. Another pretty big turn. Ah, draw the Frasco. Okay, we put that back. Swords is fine. Opponent down to 3 cards as well. So pretty happy with this. We can take care of the Mox Diamond, or we could exile some lands if we want, if we see like a Loam. Ghost Quarter, I believe we don't have another land in the deck, so we will just get a shuffle off that, which isn't too bad. We do lose the Green Suns, but currently I'm pretty happy just trying to win this game with Walkers. 4/5 mana. I'm probably okay with just drawing into the bird. Yeah. Interesting. I guess if my opponent did have if my opponent has 2 crop rotations, they could win. Maybe there's a reason to take the path. Put on top. Put on top. Exile the Mox. Play Savannah. I might actually just go with the Skoos. I guess getting Vraska down is actually pretty important. And if I do it like this, then I can also hold up the white source. I'm just going to sack a forest, draw the path. Nice. I guess I didn't have to because of the Monarch or drawing a card anyway, but this also means we get to see a fresh 3 from the library next turn, which is also pretty good. Yeah, I think Skyclave has a lot more merit to it than you might think. Even out of something like like a Stoneblade deck, I think that Skyclave Apparition has a lot of play to it. Oh, Hexdrink is actually really nice. They only have 2 cards in hand as well. Put on top, pay for this. Get Savannah. Play Hex. Tick up. Tick up. Tick up. I'm going to exile the Ramanap. I don't really care about. I probably want to keep for the Ooze. So I'm just going to go for Dark Depths and Stage. I guess I don't really care about that either. It's probably more the Ghost Quarters and Wastelands. At this stage, I think it doesn't really matter, thankfully. I can just tick this up and sack nothing, which I don't mind doing. Sylvan Library the big player here in this matchup. Obviously the card advantage is really good, but also just being able to claw ourselves back into the game. After our opponent had, an Elvish Reclaimer down and also a Ramanap into... you know what it is. Ramanap into Wasteland Lock. That was looking pretty grim. And luckily we got to a stage where we could cast 2 spells in a turn. Grab the Monarch and get it back. And it's a big reason why I don't like the Monarch right now, is that I think there's a lot of decks that can play around it pretty well. Ramanap here is going to be more than fine. I have 1 black source left in the deck, and it's in the deck, so even a Wasteland here isn't too scary. Oh, Cradle's actually pretty interesting. Wasteland ourselves. Huh. I guess I can keep them off prime time if they have prime time. So, put on top and put this on top because we'll draw it. So, Wasteland, Noble, Bird. I guess I could have also ticked up the Hextrigger for a 2-turn clock, but I think Vraska's going to win us this game, so... That's pretty nice. And yeah, opponent just seeing how much value we have, so... thankfully get there in game in match 1, which is really nice. Always interesting to see how these mid-range matchups go, but thankfully the Sylvan Library just allowed us to really outvalue our opponent from what they were trying to do. And you know, we got to buy some time as well, because our opponent did go for the Marit Lage combo in both games, and we had pretty good answers to them. The first one in Wasteland and the second in Path to Exile, so you know, a Swords to Plowshares, gaining them 20 life can be a little bit different because it can give them more time to kind of stay in the game, but thankfully we didn't allow them. Sadly, these are just hands you sometimes get playing Legacy, so this is not a keep. This is not a keep. I don't think there's a one-lander that I would keep with these other cards. Like even a fetch land probably wouldn't be good enough to get like Savannah for Hex Drinker, then also hold up swords. So we'll mull this. This is an interesting one because we have access to turn 1 Dried Arbor. Which I don't mind. So I am going to keep this. But now I'm not sure what I want to drop. I could drop the second Green Suns because we already have one. But if the first one's going for Dried Arbor, I kind of like having the second. I do like Thalia for the blue matchups. I think Kaya is all around pretty good. Sylvan Library is going to keep us back in this game, and then Abrupt Decay is kind of removal, so I think it just might be Kaya. But Kaya kind of is a decay that also sticks around, so you know, in Legacy these days, you do want that extra value. So I think it is just going to be Abrupt Decay here that I put back. Because at least Kaya does similar things to Abrupt Decay, but also sticks around. And that's why I'm going to go with her. Alright, let's just go for Savannah. And Green Suns for Dried Arbor. Fair Magic. How good is it? Gotta love it. I mean, next turn, even if we don't draw a land, we could do something like Green Suns for a Noble Hierarch. They're gonna force it. So maybe they're Rug Delver and they're on a Wasteland plan, which would be pretty rough. Trop. Okay. That's okay. Thalia. Alright, we'll see if this one works. They did pitch 1 days, so that's not the worst, but it does turn on things like Chain Lightning, Lightning Bolt. Can be a little bit rough here. No flip. Opponent might fetch here to get rid of the Dried Arbor to not allow me to trade with the Delver. And now setting up the Delver, so it's a pretty nice start. Unfortunately not for us though. And I think here I'm going to play the Sylvan Library if I draw a land because I really want to find a removal piece for it, and unfortunately just didn't get there. I mean, if my opponent kept a Wasteland on top, then it's even worse. This looks like a Hooting Mandrills. Yeah, okay. That's pretty good. Alright. Definitely looking down the barrel of a game 1 loss, but can't do too much. Taking 7 here, going down to 10. Best case is we draw a land that can play the Kaya to exile the Insectile Aberration, and then we either take 4 or lose the Kaya. It's gonna be tough. Yeah. Bolt's pretty good. I probably don't even want to, if I draw like a Bayou, I probably just want to concede and not show that I'm playing the Black Splash. That was a really aggressive hit on the Green Suns, but obviously they were just aware of it. And I'm just going to concede here. I don't want to show too much away. Rug just doing rug things, so Not too much I can pull from that game. On the play, okay. Knight of Autumn, not great. Collector Oof, not great. The extra paths, fantastic. Hexdrink is interesting. Hexdrink is a card that can kind of run away with the game, but I'm not a big fan of it, I guess, especially against Rug, where they can just have, you know, Bolt or Oko, so I'm going to go down on the Hex. Submerge is also another card to look out for. Plagues are always interesting as well. Plagues on Wizard are probably the best name because it kills a unflipped Delver and also makes Dreadhorde Arcanist a 0/2, which means it can't actually flashback one CMC spells, but it's also a Death Touch creature for Tarmogoyf and Hooting Mandrills, which isn't too bad, so I think on the play I'm going to keep it in. I do like one library, not the second. I don't mind the Questing Beast. It might just be something like this. Thalia is always an interesting one as well. I sometimes don't mind trimming a Thalia because we are bringing in more non-creature spells. And against the creatures like Tarmogoyf and Dreadhorde Arcanist, it doesn't line up too well when you're trying to be aggressive. But I'm just trying to think what would be better. I think I'm okay with this. I think Thalia usually has a pretty big target on her head against Rug. So if she is on the field, she's probably doing, you know, enough for you. So I'm going to see how this goes. Ruggle is a pretty interesting matchup that can go either way because they can really get you with their Wasteland strategies. I'm going to mulligan this. The mana's a little bit rough. The Cradle's pretty bad in this matchup. There's probably even a case to take it out because they don't... Rug's deck doesn't really allow you to go wide with creatures, so Cradle doesn't really hit its full potential in this matchup. I do want to have some... Ugh. Okay. I'll keep it. I'll bottom the second Bayou. And just pass... I might want to once here, because if I find a Mana Dork, like a Noble Hierarch, I don't mind it coming down off the forest. And there it is. I think that's our best play. Now I could go Snow-Covered Forest, so we have like a kind of can play around Wasteland for a little while. I could also go Verdant here into Noble, which means that if we draw into a fetch land, I can play the Knight on turn 2 around Lightning Bolt, which is kind of cool. But I think I'm just going to play the Forest Noble and try to hold up a Decay for the end of their second turn, hopefully hitting Arcanist, and then we can play, if we draw into another fetch land, the Knight later on, and around Days as well, which is kind of nice. Yeah, Dorks are nice, of course, playing around things like soft counterspells like Days, but I think here, Green Suns. What do I want to do here? I kind of want to fetch for Bayou and Green Suns for Scribranger. Are we playing Scribranger? Maybe not. That's the cut. Okay. Interesting. Well, maybe I don't want to fetch here. That's actually really interesting. I'm going to go for Savannah. Hey Nathan, welcome. Hope you're well. I don't really want to expose a black mana this early on. And I don't really want to jam the Knight. This is actually a pretty interesting one. I definitely should have checked if this list is running Scribranger before I fetched. But I think getting Savannah is fine. And I probably don't mind getting Dazed here, so I am just going to Green Suns for the full amount. Yeah, it's okay. Delver flips to Ponder. Okay. Wasteland's probably the best draw, because we can Wasteland our opponent to turn off Daze. Oh, another... Okay. Well, Swords is pretty nice. I am still going to play the Knight. And then hold up the Sword. You're having good results with Red Maverick? Yeah, Pyro's Blast seems really good right now. And then you get Clots, which is very cool. You do get some things like... No Flip, interesting. Cindervines, I've seen people play. Fiery Confluence, I think the card is as well, which is pretty good. Or Fiery Justice. Fiery Justice is pretty sweet. See what this Ponder does. Yeah, I found it. I'm just going to Swords this Delver here. I'm not playing around Daze, but I think that's okay, because if I get to untap with the mana, I'm pretty happy. Hey, a huge thank you for the sub, Nathan. 2 subs is 2 months is very cool. Yeah, really glad to hear you're enjoying Red Maverick. It's definitely moved away from punishing fire, unfortunately, but I think it still has a lot of gas. This is an awkward spot because I do want to use the Abrupt Decay on the Delver, but if they play an Oko, then I kind of want to decay that. If I hold the Swords for Hooting Mandrills, then the Decay does nothing, but... Tough one. I'm going to take one hit and see what they do post-combat. Because I'd probably rather use a removal spell on something like Arcanist. Wasteland's pretty good. Alright, I'm going to play around Daze here. But I'm not playing around... Force of Vigor. Sorry, Force Negation. I'm probably okay just to pass to their turn. A big downside to not using the Sword last turn and just playing into Daze was that I can't cast the Knight here, but that is fine. I'm going to play around Force Negation and Swords in Upkeep. Submerge is probably the one card that I don't want to see. Another Bolt would be pretty bad as well. Probably another Arcanist as well would be pretty huge. Just really ran out of cards a little bit early on. Yeah. There's probably even a world where I shouldn't have cast the early Green Suns, just because I wanted to play a turn 2 play. And there's Submerge. Submerge huge in this matchup, and obviously with Arcanist as well, it's just so hard to kind of stay in the game, in the mid to late game. Klotz is pretty good. Alright. We'll go for Bayou. And hope they don't have the last card of Daze. This Klotz is definitely going to finish us off first though, which is pretty unsettling. Definitely blocking here. Okay. That's just game. Not too much I can do there, unfortunately. Rogue matchup where you definitely need to have a pretty good first couple of turns. I mean, the first 3 turns are definitely really important for Maverick at establishing some sort of board. Because if you're trying to fight, you know, behind a Delver or behind a Arcanist, it's pretty rough to get back in the game. It was definitely a lot different when Arcanist wasn't around. If you had something like a 4/4 Knight, you could play around Bolt pretty easily, and that was kind of Rug's big removal spell. So things have definitely changed a lot. You know, even a 6/6 Knight isn't all that great against Rug these days. I'm gonna keep this. It's a turn 2 Knight. It's also got swords for removal and Ramanap if we need it, so not too sure what mental is on. Astro. Okay. Interesting. Gonna go Savannah into Dryad. Not the greatest hand for Snow, but just a pass from our opponent's pretty interesting. Huh. Hey Elo, huge thank you. Prime sub is very well appreciated. So thank you very much. I hope you're well. Knight isn't doing a whole lot here, so I think it's just going to be a Knight here to take out the Astrolabe. Probably my favorite play. Brainstorm's okay. I just hope this isn't some sort of show and tell deck that's playing Astrolabes, because Knight's probably our best card to put in off a show and tell. Just because you can hit Omniscience off it. Hey, you're more than welcome. Thank you very much. Hope you enjoyed the badge. The shield is very cool. Oh, they're playing okay. Ooh. Interesting. Oko's gonna be fine. This is an interesting one. I think here I value the... It's a case of, do I value the Knight or the Ramanap more? Hey Map, you never noticed the badges? They even change after time, which is cool. I think it's Ramanap that I don't care about as much. But it's interesting. I'm gonna fetch. Just get a land in the bin. And I will get scrub land. Hey Ved, a huge thank you for the follow. Hope you're well. What are we doing? I think we're just attacking the Oko, playing the Ramanap. I'd rather get the Ramanap elked than the Knight of the Reliquary. I guess I should do it pre-combat so I can play around days before I attack. It's definitely correct. If I get dazed here, oof. Someone's gonna have to, okay, nice. That's fine. Yeah, Astrolabe's definitely a tough one. It's definitely made these decks a lot more... their mana bases are a lot more reliable, being 4 or 5 colors. Ponder's Fern. Which sucks as well because, you know, Wasteland's just obviously a card that I'm a huge fan of, being a D&T and a Maverick player. And to see these decks get away with it. Ah. This isn't Legacy. But you take what you can get. Okay. Green Suns. I mean, we could just try to Green Suns here for... No. I was going to say, sorry, Green Suns for, Questing Beast, but the food still blocks it. I could go for Plague Engineer on Snake to stop an Ice Fang, and then Swords the food. Unfortunately, I guess now it's just a pass. There's no great attacks. Oko here is doing so much work, especially making this Astrolabe now a 3-3. Yeah, not looking good. Grindstone. Nice. Oof is actually pretty funny. I guess they can trade the Oko if they wish. I'm just gonna play Knight here. I do want to build out my board and then hopefully get a Questing Beast down, but it's definitely not looking too good. You red paint a didgeridoo. What is the most common deck on Legacy for Magic Online at the moment? I would say a Delver deck, but it's tough to know which one. I could play around Force here by wastelanding the Trop and going to second main if they float, but I'm just going to go for Questing Beast here. I think it's a Delver deck. I think the Delver is a good deck to get into the format with and also master the format with, so it has kind of both players. And then also to learn the format with as well, I guess. So it's kind of that like starter, mid, and late game player that could enjoy Delver. Ice Fang. Okay. There's a world where I should have wastelanded. Yeah, I should definitely have wastelanded. Yeah. Yeah, the deck seems cool. Thoughtseize seems great. Sylvan Library seems great. Frasca seems okay. Ramanap, probably not where I want to be. Hex Drink, probably not where I want to be. Oof seems fine. Wasteland, I can probably drop down on. Yeah, definitely a little bit different to Pokey, that's for sure. But very cool to see. I mean, like, innovation you can't be mad at. Plagues are interesting. Plagues are kind of nice because of the snakes just preemptively, but it's not a great place to be. I don't mind the extra. Once is interesting. I could trim if I am trimming on some of the creatures that I want to find as well. Yeah, I feel like Painter should definitely see a lot more play than it does. Obviously, is in some pretty nice colors as well. What do I want to do here? I might just trim a Thalia, seeing I'm down to... Oh, bringing in the 4 non-creature spells. Also, not that great against a 1/3 Painter. Obviously better with Exalted, but... This is going to be an interesting matchup. Mental Misstep, also a really good player that has, I believe, won a challenge with Legacy Maverick. He's definitely done a few pieces on the Green Sun Zenith, which is really cool. So, huge props to the guy. I haven't seen the art up close of Painter's Servant, but I can definitely assume that it is whack, as you say. It's got that, like, creepy guy. Huh. I could wait on the Wasteland to see what my opponent, if they brainstorm in response to the Thoughtseize. I'm not playing around Spell Pierce, but I think this is probably better to see what they grab with this. Because even if they brought in, like, Veils, perhaps, they probably want to get something other than the Snow-Covered Forest. Yeah, okay. That's pretty rough. No. Night of Autumn, okay. Sadly, I think it's just Plague here and pass. Because if they go Oko, we could Green Suns for Questing Beast next turn if we draw a land. I'm just going to name Snake because that's probably the most annoying card. Surely no Snap. Snap Veil? Rough. This is the one card I was like, they won't have Snap. Surely they don't play Snap as well. They play Snap as well. I kind of want to Swords to Snap in case we draw into a land and they don't have the force for the Green Suns. Doesn't feel great, but it does mean we can get the Oko off the table. There's also merit to just playing the Knight of Autumn and dealing with the food, but that's not great either. I don't think there's anything that you're really scared of with Green Suns anyway, so if this gets forced, it's not the worst. Like, even a Knight here just does nothing with the Oko. Sadly, the hand was definitely pretty good with Thoughtseize, but the Veils just blow it out. Especially for value, you're down a card and they're up a card. Opponent having a good think. I think Decay off the top is probably what we need to get back in this game, just to clean out Oko. Hopefully start applying some pressure. The Plague Engineer isn't doing too much, but obviously holding off Theoretical Snakes is quite nice. Mind Harness takes control of it. So hopefully our Knight of Autumn resolves. But I mean, just so many angles of attack here. If I take care of the Mind Harness, then I get the Knight back, but then I'm just playing Fair Magic. If I take care of the Plague Engineer, it takes that combo off the board, but doesn't do a whole lot. There is an upkeep cost to the Mind Harness. I think this game is a little bit too far away anyway, so it doesn't really matter what happens. And yeah, the third Veil is going to be really rough. Nothing I can do there. Rough. So some pretty big losses to these decks. That obviously it's a pretty sweet deck, but the Okos just create this sub game that I have to deal with before kind of dealing with my opponent, and it's just so hard to really keep up with that. Hey Jack, a huge thank you for the 6-month streak and the eight months. That's really nice. Very cool to see. Yeah, Jimmy, 100% correct. I mean, Oko is just great against Maverick. At worst, we're obviously losing to it. Even like if you have Decay, you're still down on value because they're obviously either making a food or making something a 3/3. I do like punishing Maverick in that regard because you get to deal with it on the stack with blast effects, but it's still pretty rough there as well. This hand's okay. Alright, once first. Hopefully find a mana dork. That'd be pretty nice. Okay. And I'm just going to go for a... probably just a Savannah here and play the Noble Hierarch. Yeah, thankfully I got a trophy with Black-Green Depths, which I've been really enjoying. Astro. Alright. I'm going to play the land. I guess I could play the Scrub land and got in the 1 extra damage with Noble if the Thalia resolves. Should definitely keep my fetches for the Sylvan libraries. But this should be okay. Counterbalance, interesting. Wonder if this is like a Miracles-esque deck. Oof's pretty interesting because it can take my opponent off a color. I'm going to Plague first to see what my opponent does with the Flooded Strand, and if they want to fetch, they don't, which is interesting. Brainstorm's pretty rough here because there's no way that I can play around Terminus with the Astrolabe in play. I guess I could Wasteland. Okay, they're just going to fetch here. Okay. Second Brainstorm, okay. Hey, Yuhei. Welcome. Hey, congrats on Eternal Weekend. I know you did pretty well, I believe, in at least one of the events. Triple Island. Back to basics. That's pretty good. Not gonna lie. I guess I can play out the knight here at least. Are those Dom? Okay, apologies. This is actually pretty interesting because I can take them off the Astrolabe. Maybe I will. I can also keep the Scrubland open for Abrupt Decay on the Back to Basics. The upside of Knight is that you can turn your jewels into basics, of course. Dom top 8 with Eldrazi. Okay, that's pretty cool. Counterbalance is okay. Ramanap, not doing too much here. Yeah, I agree. Some people obviously don't like music in streams, but I think it's okay. Especially soft music, it's kind of nice just to break it up. And if I'm going to stream, I'm going to do it the way that I like it. So here, I'm pretty happy to go for the Ramanap off of Forest. They could also just hardcast Force here, let's be honest. Or Brainstorm. Narset. Okay. I mean, they are at 8 as well. Narset's fine. Hey, thank you. Oh, they got Terminus. Ooh, Abrupt Decay is nice, but we don't have the Black Source. Definitely taking care of the Narset. Takes that card out of consideration. Black Source, Black Source. So we have the fetches in the Bayou that we can grab. That's about it. Birds. Okay. I guess we can attack first with the Plague Engineer. When I play off stream, I usually talk through a lot of my lines just to myself, I guess, just because it's kind of good habit, but probably not to the extent of streaming and talking. And especially not to the extent that it actually gives away information to my opponent. Opponent probably just tapping out for Terminus here, but if I can get this decay on the back to basics, I'll be very happy. Oh, there we go. Okay. I think it's made me look out for things a little bit more. And also feedback from chat is always really nice as well, so can't be too unhappy for that. But yeah, I think that streaming makes you definitely more aware of what you can be doing. Yeah, Bob has done really well with Legacy Maverick as well. I know that he's top 8 at a few challenges with it. I'm gonna go for Double Knight. So close to Questing Beast. Just like Green Suns and Questing Beast are all I want here. Ooh. Opponent has 2 cards. I think one is Jace. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's probably worth just tapping out instead of going for Green Suns for 4, because it leaves Force of Will off the table for actually countering it off counterbalance. What does it reveal? Oh, they have a hardcast force. That's no fun. I'll be back in 1 sec. Nice. Another wasteland. Not the greatest here. They do play Terminus, but I thought they might have more forces in the deck than Terminus, especially seeing they've already used a force. Definitely make things harder. This is pretty close to a lock, but just knowing that Green Suns into Questing Beast is a pretty nice out, I'm definitely not going to give up just now. That definitely makes it tougher. Maybe it's better to tap out there for Engineer. Just because it is lethal. But knowing that they have the Teferi to bounce it, it's pretty rough. Probably get one more draw step. Can at least see more of my opponent's deck as well, which is nice. Oh, don't six. I guess I can because of the swords. That's fine. might as well. I mean, it is lethal. Yeah. Unfortunately, the Jace is going to take it. Sighting's going to be interesting. I do like the Thoughtseize in this matchup and the second Sylvan Library. I don't mind the Planeswalkers. I think that swords can definitely come down, if not to 0. The Decays kind of take the role of just removal, and then also Plague Engineer because it can be okay. This is just Achilles' list, yeah. I do like taking out Cradle and a Wasteland. Chalice for 1's actually pretty relevant, especially on the play. That's pretty interesting. I probably actually want to bring out some number of my mana dorks because of Terminus and most likely Supreme Verdict post board. Ramanap can definitely come out. I think this is fine. See how this plays. A little bit of an oboe if you get the Chalice down before you get your Thoughtseizes in hand, but I think if the Chalice is on 1 and in play, I'm going to be pretty happy. I think early game, getting my mana up with a little bit of disruption in either Thoughtseize or Chalice, or maybe Thalia would be nice, and then trying to land a good Planeswalker is where I want to be. And this is probably a good enough hand, especially to play around back to basics as well. I'm going to keep this. It doesn't have a black mana, but I'm probably okay with that. Fran's deck? Oh, is that the green-white Elvish Reclaimer deck? Definitely looks, yeah, pretty cool. Does it play Mox Diamond? I think it has the ability to play Chemon Chalice, which is definitely pretty nice to see. I'm also going to play turn 1, turn 2 Thalia over the Chalice, because I'd rather the Thalia get forced than the Chalice. Could draw into Caracas here. Decay. Alright, I'll attack first. Cool. I don't want to lose the Bayou to a back to basics, so I'm pretty happy just to play the Savannah here. Force it. Okay. That's fine. Yeah, I think the deck definitely has some legs that FP Pauls has been playing for a while. There's a few other people that have been playing it as well, which is good. Probably looking at Swords to Plowshares here, but I'm gonna once, because if I can once into Caracas, I'd be very happy, especially if my opponent doesn't do anything. If they do, I'm gonna take the Knight of Autumn. Play the Bayou and pass. Oh, Fran. Okay, that makes a lot more sense, of course. What deck is this that I'm playing against? It looks like a blue-white... Oh, do you mean Franz? It's a green-white Reclaimer deck that plays a Green Suns package that ends with like Primeval Titan, and then it also has the backup win condition of like Field of the Dead. There's the Crackers. This is a little bit awkward because I don't really want to tap out for the Plague Engineer, but then not have something for... Not have a Black Source for Decay if they back to basics me, but I think that's probably okay. Let's go with Plague. I think it's just going to be Human. Just for like Snapcaster Mage. I could name Monk. But I think Human's okay. Teferi's a little bit annoying. But I don't think I want to use a Knight of Autumn on it. Best case, my opponent probably plays a Astrolabe here. No. Well, Thalia is actually pretty nice. I guess in case my opponent has a Swords to Plowshares left that they found off the Ponder, it's worth going Thalia first. And now going for Plague. Holding up Caracas to save the Thalia. Yeah, Valak in the deck is very cool. Yeah, a little bit like Modern Titan, but not so all in. Ghost Assassin's pretty sweet. I'm going to attack first to see what they have. Alright. Ah, that's right. Okay. Yeah, Jack, that's pretty cool to know. Upkeep Predict is probably Terminus. No. Okay. But yeah, very cool to see Fran go through his like stages of the deck. And obviously move it to Legacy as well, which is very cool. Wow, Brainstorm but no follow-up. So we see a Brainstorm lock, which is great for us. I'm also weary of a top Terminus, so I don't really want to put anything else on the board. I think I'm okay just passing here, to be frank. Judgment's interesting. I probably actually care a fair amount about this Thalia, so I'm not going to give them the option. There is reason to keep it in play because then you still have an attacker on the board, which might just be more relevant. Hey Dark Cloud, a huge thank you for the 7-month sub. We are fighting a good fight, but unfortunately tonight not going as well as we hoped. We can hopefully claw back into this game and then finish it off with a 3-2. But we did lose the first game to a J Salty, or what was going to be a J Salty. That's fine. Hiya. Interesting. Haha, 3-2. Sadly, no second stream, I don't believe. Snap's pretty good. It does at least mean that this Knight of Autumn on the Back to Basics is going to work because they now can't pay through the Thalia. But a little bit of a rough one losing the Knight there. I guess I could have also just attacked with the Thalia and then turned on my lands into the third mana, which possibly was better. Alright, so we can go Kaya. Yeah, maybe even keeping up the Caracas was better. I'm gonna take out these swords. And probably just the predict. Play the Verdant. Take them off the Volk and pass. Judgment's actually a pretty nice, yeah. I should have thought of this. Let's be honest. Especially knowing that Snapcast is in the deck. A little late. Jace is pretty good. I think I want to eat something. Maybe I actually want to hold up. Because I could also fetch for Dried Arbor, untap, and if we hit an Exalted creature, I can swing into the Jace to kill it. So I probably want to decay the Snap here. So I just let this resolve. Hey, HG Butt. Doing okay, thanks. Alright. Let's make the dream happen. Let's draw that Exalted creature. We did take some out, so it is going to be pretty tough to try to draw into it, but that's not it. I will Thoughtseize first. Snap Narset Force. Okay. This is an interesting one. I don't care about the Snapcaster because we have Scavenging Ooze. So I think it's the Narset we take. And if they want to force the Scavenging Ooze, they can. By pitching the Narset. By pitching the Snapcaster, sorry. Yeah, so I think because we have the Scoos, we don't care about Snap, but we do care about the Force. So I think we take the Narset in that case, because then that's pretty good either way. We have the Savannah and the basics open, so we can play... You take the Snap. Maybe it is better just to take the Snap. I can cast the Ooze. That's easy. Hey, thanks, Elo. All the best. Enjoy your week, and I'll hopefully see you again very soon. Yeah, I'm going to take the Narset, because I can cast the Skoos, and if they want to force it, they can force it. But if not, all is well. They are going to force it. Okay. Oh, the back is pretty good. Again, Questing Beast is really what I want to see here. Maybe just not allowing them to actually force the Skoos is better. So just taking the force. It's always a rough one. They have one card left. Swords. Alright. There's probably a case for playing the Windswept there as well because of Jace. If they Fate Seal us and put something on top, we definitely want to fetch. Definitely not a great spot. Unfortunately, I think the writing's on the wall. Yeah. Rough. Oof, what started off so well has obviously crashed and burned. Yikes. Kind of have to play another league after this just to bring it back. But yeah, just a little bit caught with our hands tonight. Just don't really have the right hands for the right matchup. But I think as well you can definitely see rust. Yeah, isn't a great hand. It is quite slow, especially on the draw. I kind of want to have a Noble Hierarch or Manadork start. Okay. I'll drop the second Noble. I think second Wasteland could be better. Not too sure what we're playing against though. Snow, okay. Yeah, I think in general I have a pretty... I think I'm a player who rushes things a little bit because there are times, especially with streaming, where you do talk through your plays. I'll make a play and then talk through it and then realize that I've made the incorrect play, where I should talk through it, realize the correct play, and then play that out. There's always things to work on, especially when you're playing Magic. The game is never finished, I would like to say. But yeah, always areas for improvement. That's why chat's always awesome as well, because you get to see different lines. Interesting. What did my opponent do with these ponders? Chose not to shuffle, chose not to shuffle, okay. Oh, cast out? Interesting. Not a card you see too much in Legacy, but obviously in some decks probably has its merit. Double cycle, okay. Hey Shankers, thanks for the Prime sub. I hope you're well. Let me know where you're from. If you play Legacy, what do you play in Legacy? This is Shark still? Okay. I was wondering what the cast outs were doing, but Shark still makes a bit of sense. Especially with Flash on this. Ah, Replenish. Okay. That's kind of scary. But luckily we do have an Exalted Thalia here, so it is a 5-turn clock. Interesting. Just getting that into the bin. Not too much we can do about this. Is this a deck where I want Leyline against? Is turning off Replenish that important? Unfortunately, our clock right now is just way too slow. Yikes. If they're holding up Brainstorm, I'm definitely going to fire off a Wasteland on the Prismatic Vista here just to stop the shuffle, because I don't really see a role of Wasteland in this matchup otherwise. Ooze would be really nice if I could find it. No land drop for my opponent is a pretty huge win. Canopy. Yeah, okay, let's play that. Sack it and find. Just not what you want. Just, I'm going to assume a pretty dead card in this matchup. Shark's fine. I wonder if I rather use a sword here and make them take 3. I don't mind being aggressive. The swords aren't doing much anyway. I'd probably rather just get the damage in. I mean, if they want to force this, that's more than fine. It's just 1 more damage. Yeah, they're forcing it. Okay. Well, we will definitely go for another sword. I can't believe we fought over that. Hey, Bravo Brendan. Welcome. Hope you're well. Ooh, Mystic getting back. Not too sure. I guess I don't have to 5 here. We do now have a Wasteland target, which is kind of nice. How much is Replenish to cast? Three, okay. Questing Beast. Ah, so close. Alright, 2-turn clock. Cycle cast out, that's okay. Interesting time to do it. Obviously means I don't have a Swords to Plowshares, which is really nice. Now you go to 4. And we just pass back. Opponent has 5 cards in hand. Ponder's fine. Surely this Thalia did not get us there. What do they do with the ponder? I would love to see a shuffle. Oh, I can't click. Does that mean they've conceded? Oh my gosh. Oh my god. I did not expect that. So this is an interesting matchup. I think we can probably take out the swords. The oof probably doesn't do a whole lot. The Ramanap definitely doesn't do a whole lot. The engineers, like on Shark, can stop a small standstill, but otherwise it's pretty bad. I do like the Thoughtseizers, the Vraska, the Kaya, the Sylvan Library. Chalice is probably pretty interesting as well. I don't mind something like this. I'd probably expect Containment Priest out of them. Plague's Dig, actually. Yeah, maybe, like, the Knights don't seem that great. I'm going to take out a Wasteland as well and fit back in a Plague. 2's nice just to be able to see it. But on the draw here, it's pretty scary. This is definitely a matchup where I want to have a turn 1 mana accelerant. Yeah, I guess they needed the 5th mana to cast one of the cast outs, but just couldn't find the 5th mana. I'm going to mulligan this. I do want a low to the ground start. And this is kind of it, but otherwise doesn't do a whole lot. I'm going to keep this in bottom of the cradle. Oh, Sanctuary Pass? Really? Well, that's an easy Wasteland target. If that's your start. It also makes this once just a little bit better because I get to dig that one more card. Screws. Okay. I'm gonna once here. Beast. All these cards would have been nice, but you can't do that. So I do want to shuffle those back in. I wonder if I don't want a Green Suns here for Dried Arbor and want to keep it in the deck. I'm probably okay with that. In before you draw Dryad. I definitely want to fetch, but because those cards at the bottom are actually pretty good. Let's go for Savannah. Could just go for basics. Let's be fair. Kaya, okay. Buy you Green Suns for Noble Hierarch because at least it can attack. Also means next turn we can cast the Kaya or the Questing Beast. Probably just the Swords to Plowshares. No. Okay. Cycling. Lay Claim. Okay. Is this kind of like a Living End deck? But, of course... Yeah, I guess this is kind of like Living End, but Replenish brings back enchantments instead of Living End bringing back creatures. Definitely interesting. Thalia is pretty good. I'd probably rather lose the Thalia than the Kaya. Scooz is also semi-relevant. I do like trying to get the Kaya into play. Oh. Come on, man. I guess this does just open up Hardcast Force Negation, which is pretty rough. Lay Claim can steal Hexproof cards. Interesting. force. Okay. That's fair. Like claim. Enchantments only target when they're in the stack. Ah. There you go, the more you learn. That's really interesting. I had no idea of that. Zer EDH? Haha. Okay. Yeah, maybe Screws and Thalia is better. Just want to try to play around some sort of... I don't want to go too far onto the board. Another Kai is actually pretty nice. I'm going to go with Kaya first. Kaya into Thalia. Nice, okay. Late claim, late claim. Cast out on this. That's fine. I'm just going to go for a Savannah and keep the other black cards, just in case of back to basics, so I want to have more black sources in the deck. Terminus actually isn't too bad, because we have the Questing Beast to back it up with, to really start getting some damage in. Yeah, I haven't seen Terminus this much in a long time. I've probably seen more Terminus in these 3 matches than I have in the last 3 months. Green Suns for Night of Autumn would be really cool here. Of course, Abrupt Decay doesn't deal with the cast out, or does Vraska. Yeah, Cloudpost seems like a pretty cool time. Or Doomsday, yeah. Library's pretty nice. Sick. I should have kept open the Bayou, just in case of something like Back to Basics. I don't think they'll be on it, seeing what they're playing, but it's definitely just best practice to hold up the black mana instead of the white. Ooh, okay. I think here I'm happy just to pay for all of these, to be honest. My opponent doesn't really have a clock going. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm actually going to cast the Thalia first, and then if they spend a counter spell on it, we can then play the Charles for 0, and we can still play Charles for 1, which we can still cast through the Thalia anyway. Hey, Dedebi Donut, welcome. Interesting. Did not expect that. It's pretty good. That's actually fine. At least those swords are going towards those creatures instead of my Screws or Knight. Yeah, I think as well with my opponent not having a clock, I'm more than happy to probably even pay another 4 here if I really want to. If I can find a land, I can cast 2 spells this turn, which is pretty great. Vraska's cool, but I think Knight and Screws are better. Put on top, pay for this. Okay. 2-3. Get those pity points. Yeah, some rough matchups. Obviously, there's some little things like the Thoughtseizer's not lining up against the triple Veil. But yeah, obviously it's nice to be back, and a few little things that I can definitely work on with sequencing and just with different lines. Kat, you're more than welcome. Enjoy your week ahead, and I'll hopefully see you soon. But yeah, in other news, Maverick is just as fun, and that's the main point of playing. But we do have Turbo Depths as well, which being 930, I could definitely see myself taking through a league, which would be pretty fun. This list is pretty close to what I was playing anyway. Yeah, I'm just gonna run this straight through a league. So hopefully you guys enjoy this, because I've really been enjoying Dark Depths for now. What is it called? It's 10:30 in real life. What was it called? Sorry. Turbo Depths October 2020. Okay. Cool. Construction. Actually, I'm gonna get some water. I'll be back in a second. Don't go away.